Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Going Uptown. This is your host, Uptown Browne, right here on BNN. I am so excited because tonight is the premiere of Unto This House. The King of Kings is born, starting to 7 p.m. at the Hibernian Hall. Here is a clip of this production, and I will start with today's events.
If your heart is feeling woe, don't be afraid, the master has it made. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If your eyes have been deceived, for his word you must receive. Don't despair, he's always been there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you need help, call Jesus.
What a beautiful performance. And if you haven't had a chance to see this production of Unto This House, The King of Kings is Born, you go this weekend, it's starting tonight at 7 p.m. at the Hibernian Hall. Now, due to time restraints, I had to do my interview with Sister Alda earlier. So here's the interview that we prepared for you for today. Another episode of Going Uptown, and this is your host, Uptown Browne, right here on BNN TV. Now, as you can see, I am dressed and ready to the holidays this month. And I have a very special episode today. I have two special guests as we celebrate Christmas as well as Kwanzaa. My first guest is producer, playwright, director of Unto This House, The King of All Kings is Born, Miss Alda Marshall Witherspoon. Welcome to Going Uptown, Miss Alda.
Thank you so much, Tyree.
Every time I see you, ooh.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh, but you're one of the best people. So, can you please tell my audience a little something about yourself?
Yes, I am a poet, a playwright, a singer, a songwriter, an author, a director, a public art director. I do all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so how did you get introduced into theater?
Theater, let me see. My first theater experience was with Elma Lewis School of Fine Arts in Black Nativity. actually.
And how was that
as a soloist.
experience?
It was amazing. I was working with John Ross, who was the premier music director at the school at the time, and he saw me at another program through my school, and he thought that he could help me as an artist, and so he asked me to come and be in Black Nativity when I was 16 years old.
16.
And so that's when I began.
Okay. So growing up, who did you look up to as an actress, or matter of fact, what you're doing now?
I think Lena Horne was probably one of my favorite actresses back in the day. I love those old black and whites. I also got a chance to see a lot of theater when I was growing up. My sister lived in New York, and she'd fly for the summer, and we'd spend all summer going to the different Broadway plays.
Wow. Now, when it comes to directing and producing, who did you look up to that inspired you to go on that path?
I'd say Scorsese. I work. I absolutely do. Eventually, I'd love to go into film. There's something about directing that's magnanimous. I love the layers of bringing various people together, you know, the lighting, the sound, the singers, the dancers, you know, the fundraising people. I mean, just all the aspects and all the glitz and the glamour and hard work, and believe me, it's hard work, putting it all together. It's such a joy.
So how long have you been directing for?
Now, with this particular piece, and I'm the producer. The director of this piece is Trinidad Ramkissoon.
Okay.
And he, this is the second time he actually has been working on the piece. He was a co-director last year, but this year he's all by himself and doing a fabulous job.
Okay, so when you had that vision to come up with Unto This House, can you please tell us about the vision and how you made this into a reality?
So I got to write this piece by my church, New Hope Baptist Church. My first lady, Shireen Sims, wanted me to come help with the Christmas program. It was a 30-minute presentation 2 years ago. And so rather than have something that was online or something you pull down, I actually wrote an original piece and added songs, because I'm, you know, a songwriter. And we had costumes by Ethel Sykes, and John Kelly, he was our music director, and he did the vocalization on it. And so we had the choir singing, and we brought in, and so we kind of made it a big to-do. And so the following year, the pastor thought that we should bring it to the public, and so we added more songs, more dances, and we did a presentation at Hibernian Hall. They were so excited about the decided to be co-presenting sponsor, and so this year it's actually under the Witherspoon Institute, which is my leadership, etiquette, and arts development for children 6 to 18 years old. We've been doing that for about 13 years, so it comes under that and Hibernian in terms of the presenting sponsors.
Okay, so what was the hardest time, most troubling time to bring this script into life on a stage?
I think just getting the right people attached to the project. That with any project, it really comes down to the people who are involved and engaged and who helps you develop it. And as long as you have the right people, like anything, you plant the correct seed, and then the proper tree will grow.
Okay. This year, opening night,
Yes,
tonight.
yes.
Who are some of the cast members in your production this year?
Yes. So Derek Quest is our Magus this year. Leslie Giddy, who many people may know from all over Boston. This lady, I'm not sure who she may not know. She's a supreme alto, and she's doing some numbers. Latamra Bay, who is from The Lion King. She's a part of our cast. We have a plethora of people who have some great background, including Joe Gonzalez, who is playing our Joseph. And Courtney Epps, she's playing our Mary. So we have some premier dancers, some premier singers. We're rolling.
There you go. And where can interested parties get tickets and information about these performances that you're having for the next 2 weeks?
Indeed. They may visit www.untothishouse.com, or they can call 555-THE-PLAY, P-L-A.
And where can people follow the ongoing adventures of Witherspoon Institute and get news about future projects?
Indeed. We also have a website for the Witherspoon Institute, www.thewitherspooninstitute.com.
And the last word is yours, Alda. Anything you want to say to my audience on why they should see Unto This House?
I think Unto This House is a story about the heart. It's an adventure through the eyes of the Magi. We do a specific take on them as being a group of people. They're learned people in mathematics and science, and they go to meet our Herod the King, dude. And this is all done through storytelling of dance and mime and poetry and puppets. So it's a very fanciful, colorful event for the whole family. Please come on by, 5 to 500. Come on by.
And Doug, Alda, for joining me this evening on Going Uptown.
Thank you so much. I
Oh my
appreciate
goodness,
you.
I'm still melting right here, right now, and I can't wait to see Unto This House next week. Well, most of all, everybody go out there and see Unto This House at Bernie Hall, 7 p.m. this evening. And we are back. And this is Going Uptown on BNN TV. And we just heard the Christmas part of this holiday celebration. Right now, I'm joined by my brother Adika, and we're going to be talking about Kwanzaa. Welcome to Going Uptown, brother Adika. How are you feeling today?
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good.
Can you tell my audience a little something about yourself?
Oh,
Like
well,
what you do, because you have a very interesting profession.
I do a lot. Let me see, community organizer, activist. I'm also a deep thought / life coach. You know, I do a lot. I do a lot in the community, and as per today, this season, I'm an organizer for the Boston Community Kwanzaa Committee.
Yes, sir.
And also a member of the Black Community Information Center. It's about almost over 10 years now.
Over 10 years?
It's been a while. I'm getting up there.
Wow. Wow, because I remember I got reintroduced to Kwanzaa when I was staying at the Ski Academy home. That's when we first met.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
2012, when I was trying to get my life back together. You came over there and met, and you did a presentation on Kwanzaa. And it reiterated my need to be part of this community again because Kwanzaa, the principles of Kwanzaa is like how we should live our lives. I remember being a MECO, going to Dover Sherburne. I had a MECO coordinator named Mr. Philip Harrington. And he made sure that we knew about Kwanzaa. I mean, every year, because, you know, they really don't teach, especially out there in the suburbs.
Right.
You know, only thing they taught was slavery to Martin Luther King. But with Kwanzaa, he brought that self-love into us. He taught us the principles. He made us recite the Nguzo Sabas and then started in 1992, my family started to celebrate Kwanzaa in our home.
Ah, beautiful.
And then after meeting you, I started going into the community since 2012 and being part of all the Kwanzaa. So my question is, what does Kwanzaa mean to you?
Ah, okay. Very good question. Icebreaker.
Yes, sir.
What Kwanzaa means to me is re-Africanization of African people in America, okay? Because the whole intention behind the celebration of Kwanzaa is to reconnect us back to our culture and our tradition, our heritage. Yes. And so a lot of people say that, I'm not sure if you did this, but a lot of critics will say that Kwanzaa is not a real African holy day celebration. Let me explain the foolishness of this statement.
Okay.
Okay. We're an African people.
Yes, we are.
On American, we're an incarcerated people, kidnapped people that came from the continent of Africa. Anything we do or we create is African because it came from us.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever I hear people say that it's not a real African holy day celebration, it's nauseating, you know. And some people just say it out of pure ignorance. And some people say it just because they just want to just be anti something.
Right.
Okay. But what Kwanzaa means to me is the reestablishing of our families, our communities, and eventually our nation, and getting back to our African roots.
And then, you know, you hit a key point with that, because a lot of people that don't really value Kwanzaa and talk negatively about it is not the other races. It's people within our own race.
Yeah, most of the time.
And that's that self-hate. Yeah. See, they don't know about Kakalia, the self-determination part, you know. So how did you become involved in Kwanzaa in the community?
The way I became involved, well, when I first learned about Kwanzaa when I was a kid, I remember my cartoons. I used to watch Tom and Jerry and all that. And there'll be these little bumpers in the middle of the shows during this season. And it says, we're wishing everyone a happy Kwanzaa. It'll be WLVI 56.
Right.
And I have this bumper with this Kwanzaa set. And I just thought I didn't know what it was. But somehow it stuck in my mind. Later on, when I started reading, you know, after all that brought me the autobiography of Malcolm X, and then I stumbled across, just to give you a little background on how I got into this, I stumbled across a book list on the Zulu Nation's website, you know, the Universal Zulu Nation. I found their website list, so I found all these books. One of the books I found was European Holidays and African Mental Genocide by the great Baba Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango. You know, and he broke down the history of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and how it negatively impacts us. Then he started talking about Kwanzaa and another African-centered holy day celebration called Umoja Karamu.
Okay.
And then it brought me back to that commercial bumper. And then when I read about the principles, I said, oh, wow. So I started doing it at my house, inviting my friends over. They're like, well, at the time my name was, you know, Sile. Sile, what are you doing? What is this? Oh, we're celebrating Kwanzaa. I said, man, get out of here with that. Then I met Baba Siddiqui Kambon. You know, we started doing community peace meetings, trying to bring peace to the neighborhoods. We was also organizing the Kwanzaa committee, and I jumped right on that. So I started doing it for the community ever since then. That was about 2003, 2002, 2003, something like that.
So that's about 15 years now.
Yeah, come to think of it. Yeah, it was a while.
Good stuff. Now, we have a table in front of you. Can you explain what the meaning of the stuff on the table?
Oh, wonderful. Okay. We'll start from the bottom up. Okay. Now, you have the Pan-African flag. Okay, that's very important. It's not an essential part of the table, but it is an important part. The red, the black, and the green. Red's for the blood, black's for green's for the land. Okay. Also want to break something else down. So now, an organization called the Republic of New Africa had the same colors, but they rearranged it to meet our people here in America. Okay. And that color was green first, red, then the black. Okay. Green because we have to get land. One of the major organization was to get land.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You know, then the red represents the bloodshed that, you know, you can't avoid if you're going to liberate yourself. It's going to happen whether you do it peaceful or not.
Yes.
You know, it's not going to be easy. So the blood represents the hard work, and then you have the black because black people were on the bottom for a very long time. We have to do what we can to get out of the bottom, stop being stepped on.
Yes.
Okay, so same colors but rearranged for Africans in America or okay. So that's the flag.
That's good stuff.
Next we're going to talk about the Mkeka.
Okay.
Okay. The Mkeka represents our culture and our tradition. And this is the straw mat. That's the foundation stand on. You know, after that, let me see, before I get to the Canera, let's talk about the Mazao.
Fruits.
Yes, the crops. This is the first fruits. This is the fruits of our labor, the harvest. This is what Kwanzaa is really all about. It's a harvest celebration for African people in America. Let me just talk about that for a second.
Yes, sir.
So, someone had asked if Kwanzaa is a harvest celebration, why is it done in the winter? Okay. It's a harvest celebration, but we're not living in an agricultural society. When we say harvest or first fruits, we're talking about our achievements. Okay, so if you graduated from high school or college, that's an achievement. If you started a business, that's an achievement. Okay, if you started a family, that's an achievement. Okay, that's what the mazal represents. And if you happen to live on a farm, you live out in the suburbs and you have farmland, yeah, that's also part of it, but you will probably sell in the springtime.
Yes.
Obviously, So it's at the end of the year, because coming into the new year, we want to start afresh. And we look back at the things that we have done, the positive things we have accomplished. Let's talk about President Barack Obama for a second.
Okay.
That might have been an accomplishment to some. Okay, so they would talk about that in some community Kwanzaa celebrations. The first black president.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the mazal. So over here we got the muhindi. The muhindi represents the labor and the hard work of the parents and the children they have, and the respect of the children of parents. I like to say it represents the children.
Okay.
So in a household, the muhindi represents, if you have one corn, that's you have one. Two, that means you have two or more children. So it represents the wealth and abundance and the happiness of the children. Okay. Next we got the Umoja cup, unity cup. That represents this of our people. So in the household, with your family, with your wife, your children, your mom, your dad, grandparents, everyone will pour a drink, okay? I don't know, grape juice, berry juice, water, and we'll pass it around the room and sip out of it. Represents the unity of the family. At the community Kwanzaa celebrations, we'll just pour it in the cup. And of course, everyone will just have their own individual cups and just drink away. We also use it to pour libations, another very important concept of Kwanzaa.
Okay.
And you got to honor the ancestors and remember the people who came before us and paved the way. All right. What you want to do next? Now, the canera,
Yes.
the candle holder. This is a nice one, actually. Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that. That represents our ancestors and roots and our parent people and the people on the continent of Africa. Because we're a part of that people. And that helps us remember our connection to that people. That's what it symbolizes. That's the canera. Now, I was thinking, we can make our own caneras.
Oh, yeah?
You can buy, I've seen it done. I haven't tried it myself. I think I am going to try it. I'm going to try to you can do it with the cup too. And that's a part of one of the principles, Kuumba, creativity.
Creativity.
You make your own, and that'll be a valuable part of your family that you'll pass down. We just create another ritual.
There you go.
Okay. And here you have the 7 candles. Okay. And that's the Mushuma Saba. They represent the Nguzo Saba. And let's talk about that. So 7 candles. And also you notice there's 7 symbols. We didn't get to the main one yet, but there's 7 symbols. The black candle is a unity candle, Umoja, that always goes in the middle. That's December 26th, and you light that candle on December 26th. Okay. So now, the next candle, which is the red one, this is Kuji Chakulia. We just talked about that a little bit. That's December 27th. So on December 27th, you light the black candle first, and then you light candle Kuji Chakulia. December 28th, That's Ujima. You know, so now, which is collective work and responsibility. So you light the emoji candle first, you light the Kujichagulia candle next, then you light the Ujima candle.
Now, before you continue,
Yes, sir.
why is the green on the left side and the red on the right side?
Let me see.
Is there a certain reason set up that way?
Okay, so you mind if I turn this around?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. A lot of people, some people do it differently, but a lot of times, you know, they want the red first, just like on the flag.
Okay.
So it's the red, black, and green. So a lot of people set it up this way. That's how we do it at my house. We do the red, black, and the green first. You know, the emoji candle is always in the middle because it's like unity, one of the most important principles of the Nguzo Sapa. You know, 'cause without unity, none of the other ones would matter.
Right.
Okay, none of the other ones would matter. Where was he? Ujima?
Ujima.
So now after Ujima to, what was that, 26, 27, 29th, December 29th, which is Ujama'a, cooperative economics. Okay, so we light all the other candles, and then we light that candle for that day. That's December 29th. Then we go over here, that is Nia. I didn't skip any, right? Okay, that's Nia. That's December 30th. That's purpose, one of my favorites.
Yes.
What is our purpose here? Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Yeah, what are we doing here? Okay, then we go to,
Faith.
nope, there's Kuumba. Wait a minute, make sure I done that. Boom, 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 boom. So then we go to Kuumba, creativity. That's December 31st. Now, traditionally, that's when we have the big feast. Of course, at the community Kwanzaa celebration, we have a feast every night. That's just something it turned into. But with your families, you can celebrate it on the other days, but this is the feast night. It's also the night you give out the zawadis, the gifts, which is a component of the table. Now let's talk about this for a second. Now, when we talk about gifts, it doesn't mean that, you know, it's not like you need to have a bunch of PlayStation games for your children there, you know, or a bunch of toys. There should be something creative, something educational, and something cultural, something that represents their heritage. You know, it could be something that they made they want to give each other.
Right.
So it has to represent creativity. It has to be something for them.
Something that they could grow up off of.
Yeah.
Not be stuck in the rut.
Yeah.
You know, something they could prosper off of.
Yeah. So it's not like, you know, it's not like, you know, the presents you may put under the Christmas tree.
Right.
You know, this is something more deeper than that. And that's the zawadis, you know, the gifts. Okay. And last but not least, you just said it, Imani. So, man, I'm gonna go over all of them. Umoja, Kujicha, Ujima, Ujama'a, Nia, Kuumba, Imani, faith. That's January 1st. And the first to have faith in our achievements for the coming year, for the coming days. And we just went over the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of blackness / Africanity.
Okay.
These are these principles that we need to uphold that will help us build our communities, nation, and our race.
Now, later on in this episode, we are definitely going. I want to definitely, you know, light the candles,
Okay.
and then do one each day, and then say, keyword Bay.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
And then, because I want to, you know, talk about, explain more about the principles, and then say and see in myself, and you could probably share too, like how you're going to put your foot forward to each principle.
Okay.
That would be interesting, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's
That'll
what's
be
up. Okay, so we are going to take a little look at a video that I have about Kwanzaa, and then we will be back with Adika. Oh, okay. So, so after the candles and stuff, do we have anything else on the table that should be relevant, like the little games?
I was going to get to those too. So you can add other cultural icons, you know, to the table, you know, or the shrine, you know, or the set. You know, They could be masks, they can just be artwork. It can be a painting that, you know, your great ancestor made. You know, you just add whatever that has significance to your family to the table. Okay. It can also be, you know, it's anything that is important to us as a people or to your family. You know, so definitely these are good. Got a little Kwanzaa set right here. I don't want to break it. I was trying to fix that. But you got Queen. Okay. You know, so there's a lot of things you can add to it. You know, it's just, you make it look right for you.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned Harambe. That means pull together. You know, usually during the celebration, Harambe.
Harambe, you gotta pull it together. Pull it together.
Pull it together.
Pull it together.
Some people think it's this. It's really just you're pulling. Harambe. Harambe. Harambe.
Harambe.
We can still demonstrate that later on.
Pull it together, and then we're gonna take a look at this video, and we will be back to Going Uptown.
Kwanzaa, that celebration that coincides with Christmas and Hanukkah. You may have even been to a Kwanzaa celebration. In the 90s, Kwanzaa was everywhere. But do you really know what this holiday's about and why it started? Let's jump back a few decades. In 1965, tensions between black communities and law enforcement reached a boiling point, and Los Angeles saw the most violent urban riot in 20 years. As the Watts riots unfolded around him, LA-based PhD student and activist Maulana Karen saw an opportunity to restore unity in black communities and foster African American cultural institutions, values, and traditions. So in 1966, Karenga created Kwanzaa, with the help connect black Americans to their African roots and with each other in the face of marginalization. In fact, the name Kwanzaa even comes from a Swahili phrase, Matunda ya Kwanzaa, meaning first fruits. Karenga decided the holiday should fall in the 7-day period between Christmas and New Year's. He even added a second A on the end of Kwanzaa to represent each of these 7 days. Each day represents a different principle: unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. During Kwanzaa, Karenga wanted communities to celebrate by gathering together to light candles and to join in a huge communal feast called Karamu, inspired by a Zulu celebration. Every celebration is different, but generally, families come together to light a kinara, read poetry, and dance to traditional African songs. Karenga traveled the country spreading the word about this new holiday. It then gained momentum in schools and colleges, and pretty soon, families started adopting Kwanzaa into their yearly celebrations. At first, many African American Christians were opposed to Kwanzaa, as they didn't want it to be a replacement for Christmas. But as Kwanzaa became more popular in the late 1960s, black churches began to embrace it, and the holiday became a supplement rather than an alternative to Christmas. Some churches even organized Kwanzaa celebrations. But Kwanzaa really took off in the 1970s as the black middle started to grow. After the 1964 Civil Rights Act outlawed race-based discrimination in employment, the number of African American middle-income earners increased dramatically and continued to grow into the 1980s and 90s. As black families moved into white suburban areas, they began to feel isolated, and Kwanzaa became a way for them to reconnect to their history and culture. By 1995, the holiday was celebrated by an estimated 10 million Americans, compared to just a few hundred when it was founded. With Kwanzaa's cemented popularity, it didn't take long for corporate America to notice. By the mid-1990s, an entire industry had formed around the holiday. Companies like Heineken even created an advertisement around Kwanzaa's 7 principles. The slogan read, "Unity, purpose, creativity, faith. Heineken beer is proud to celebrate Kwanzaa and everything it stands for." This was something that Karenga had specifically sought to avoid, saying the challenge for the African people avoid the problems of commercialization that they've learned from other holidays like Christmas. In fact, one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa is the importance of a self-sustaining, cooperative economy between African Americans, one that emphasizes black justice and discourages mass commercialization. But Kwanzaa's mass marketing appeal was somewhat short-lived. By the mid-2000s, paraphernalia started to disappear from shelves, and many adherents abandoned the holiday as a yearly tradition. Today, only 2% of Americans are believed to celebrate Kwanzaa, despite the fact that African Americans now make up 13% of the population. After 5 decades, Kwanzaa still stands as an important reminder of the historic challenges that Black America come, and it still remains a uniting force for millions.
And we're back. And I'm joined by my brother Adika, and we are discussing Kwanzaa today. And let's talk about the history and why was it created.
Kwanzaa was created, I believe it was 1966, by an organization called the United Slaves, US, U.S. One of the leaders named, at the time, Ron Karenga, who later became Maulana Karenga. So he's credited as the founder, of the celebration. And so that was believed in Los Angeles, California, is where that started, and the celebration consisted of 7 children who all represented a principle. Now here's a good trivia. Kwanzaa is spelled Kwanza originally, which means first fruit in Kiswahili. An extra A was added at the end of it, so there'll be 7 letters. So 7's a very dominant number in the celebration. And there were also 7 children to represent each principle. Okay, so yeah. Now, another question you had to ask? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And one of the reasons he created it was because, like Christmas was more commercialized and stuff like that, and he just wanted something for us to celebrate, like how you say, our fruits, our achievements, our accomplishments. And later on, like how you mentioned earlier, you found out about Kwanzaa while you was watching Tom and Jerry when it was being commercialized, and like how we saw in that video, places like Heineken's and stuff like that started popular, like making it all about publicity like Christmas, but no, it was not like that.
No.
What do you think about that?
A lot of people were calling it a Black Christmas, and it's like really not a Black Christmas. They just decided to put it around the same time. It's not on the 25th, it's actually on the 26th. So for those of us who celebrate Christmas, do your thing, but when 26 comes, that's our week.
Yeah.
So Karenga is a cultural nationalist, okay? Meaning the cultural nationalists were trying to do everything as African as possible, wear dashikis, speak the African language. Kiswahili at the time was noted as the Pan-African language. Now it's becoming Yoruba, but at the time it's Kiswahili, which is a very important language, which is why everything is in Kiswahili. They had little cultural celebrations, and they were a little different from the political nationalists like the Black Panther Party, much respect to them. And they actually clashed on some things.
Like what type of things clash on?
Well, at the time, a lot of the cultural nationalists were talking about going back to Africa and practicing African tradition culture, where a lot of the vanguards, like the Panthers, were talking about what's that going to do us being oppressed right now. So there was a clash. It's now coming together a little bit. But like I said earlier, a lot of those critics, are actually people that still have that type of political consciousness. So they're not wrong per se. They just don't know how to put the two together. Okay. And there was also an unfortunate event that happened at UCLA between some of the organization, some of the members of US and the Black Panthers, where 2 Panthers ended up being assassinated. But what people fail to realize is that the FBI was infiltrating a lot of these groups at the time, and they were instigating a lot of problems.
That's true.
And a lot of times, the people who were doing the killing, weren't even an actual part of the community. They were informants.
Right.
Okay.
Nice.
But it put a bad taste in people's mouths, to the point where some people don't want to celebrate Kwanzaa for that reason. Some people don't want to associate with Maulana Karenga for that reason. But there was a lot of things that happened at that time that caused a lot of bitterness with each other, and that has to be remedied.
So, speaking about, so Kwanzaa in our community, you said we started like about 12 years ago, I believe you said?
About 12 years.
12 years ago. So explain like the sequence of those events. Like, I know like for Umoja, we would celebrate here. And then Kujichagulia, we would celebrate there. Like, can you explain that process?
So the Boston Community Kwanzaa Committee has our program is actually very unique, and a lot of cities across the nation are actually adopting that program. So what we did, when it started like 30 years ago in Boston, there was only like 15 people in the room.
Okay.
Mickey, big ups if he's watching, he was one of them, along with several other people at the time that were living in Boston and that were with us here in physical. So it now turned into several nations, so we made it so that each organization and institution works together at this time of year.
And what are some of those organizations?
So we have, we had the NAACP with us at one point, the Nation of Islam, we had the Black Social Workers, the Museum of Afro-American History, all these institutions, and they team up and they have one night, and they organize the celebration, for the whole week. And so it's like a united front, so to speak. And we made it that way to represent Umoja, unity, us coming together, working together to give something to Boston like this celebration, which is a wonderful celebration. I mean, even if the idea of the celebration is to teach people how to celebrate it at home, but really it's just a time to come out and have a good time and be with your people.
Yeah, and not only that, just to network and communicate with one another and then build with one another. Like my fondest experience is going to meeting and networking with people so we could build together.
Yeah.
That's what community is about, and this is why, we celebrate this. It shouldn't be only 7 days. We should just keep on doing this week after week after week.
It's supposed to be.
Yes.
And Guzul Saba is not just for December. The Guzul Saba is how we're supposed to live.
Yes.
That's just how we're supposed to live. We did have a Kwanzaa in the summertime that we did it once. We might try to do it this year.
Oh, can you tell me about that experience when you did it in the summer?
That was
I didn't hear about that.
off the chain.
Oh, yeah?
So we did it at, what's the name of that park down there on Moreland Street in Roxbury? Around the corner from Toll Baptist Church.
Can't come to me right now.
I can't think of the name, but we was down there. We had the grill out. And we had my brother Selassie was doing the drums, and he's also the DJ. BCR was the MC. We had just different performances, and it was different because it was outside. We usually do it on the inside, but excuse me, there's something about celebrating, our culture on the outside, because we're from an outside people. We didn't hang inside much.
Right. Shoot, one of our biggest celebrations was outside Juneteenth.
Yes. Oh yeah, see? Perfect example. And in fact, we did it, I think it was in May? I don't even remember I should have brought a flag. I didn't even think about it. But we're gonna try to do another one next year.
And before we continue, if anybody want to get more information about Kwanzaa and the events that's coming up, how would someone get involved?
Just go to www.blackinfonow.org. You'll find the section that deals with Kwanzaa, and they'll show you all the celebrations, the dates it took place, and even the history of Kwanzaa celebration in Boston.
And are you guys looking for volunteers to help you out with this?
It's all set, but of course, if anyone wants to come through and help out with chairs and stuff, yes, it's a community event. When all the events are over, we usually call on the brothers to help clean. As you know, we call on the brothers to help clean up.
Oh yeah.
Pick up the tables and stuff.
And another thing about Kwanzaa too, you give vendors an opportunity to sell their products, because we
Ujamaa.
Yeah, cooperative economics.
Yeah.
And how, like, if somebody wants that event that's watching the show now, how can they do that too, or be a part?
The website.
The website?
Yeah, they go on the website and they have to fill out the application, and then take it from there. Is to claim that space.
Claim the space.
Yeah, and make some money.
There you go.
There you go.
Cooperative economics. Yeah, and let's go over these principles now. We're not going to actually light the candle because I don't,
Oh, okay, well.
don't want to start a fire up in here. But we start off with saying Habarigani, and what's that mean?
Habarigani traditionally means what's the news, but I say it means what's up.
What's up?
What's going on?
And we're going to start with the first day.
Umoja.
That means unity, and to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, nation and race.
Yeah. So on December 26th, the greeting is Habarigani. The response is Umoja.
Yes.
So if someone says Habarigani to you on December 26th and you celebrate Kwanzaa, you say Umoja.
Okay.
Now, let's say if it's not Kwanzaa, it's not the 26th, and someone says Habarigani. During this season, you could say Herizah Kwanzaa, which means Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa, okay.
Okay, so if someone says Habarigani like today, like, hey, Brother Tyree, Habarigani.
Kwanzaa.
You say Herizah Kwanzaa.
Herizah Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. There you go. And, when I think of principle, like doing stuff like this, like having this TV show, having guests come on here like you that's doing work in the community and advocating for this community will help unite us, unite people out there. How do you do that with the unity part?
Or how do you represent that principle?
Yeah.
Let me ask this. So you're doing the TV show. Okay. That's a start.
That's a start.
Okay. But it could even be simpler than that.
You go out there and network and then combine and help people out with their organizations.
If you have, let's say you have Sunday dinner, a traditional thing in African American households. You turn that Sunday family dinner into a neighbor dinner.
Okay.
So if it's you and your family on Sunday, choose one day out of the week or the month to do it for the neighbor. You call up your neighbors in the community, hey, we're having dinner, you want to come on? Over here, bring something. So now it's a potluck, which is African.
Yes.
It's so African. Bringing your own dish. That's unity that adds to the table. Okay, so that's a start. One of my teachers told me that one of the simple things you can do is the neighbors at a 5-house span, across the street side, start with them. Just start all doing things with them, and then expand. And then we have a community. That's how we rebuild the community. Okay, we need, because the community, in all honesty, we don't need right now.
We don't.
Okay.
We're getting placed out of our community.
Yeah, we're getting kicked out. A whole lot of things are happening.
Yes.
So the best thing to do is just talk to your neighbors, do things with your neighbors, have cookouts, family reunions, field trips. Remember the field trip? We used to do field trips, neighborhood field trips. You go fishing or something.
Yes, and then
Or go to Six Flags or something.
Go swimming. Just do stuff together as kids.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, we can't go over the rest of these principles because I was being informed that our time is running out.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything before closing?
Just want to say happy Kwanzaa to everybody. And I hope this inspires you to, you don't have to celebrate it, but at least check it out, at least know what it is. We should not be African and not know what our holy day celebrations are. We should always just respect it and learn more about it before we judge it.
And I just wanted to thank you for being a part of my show, Brother Adika, because I've been inspired by you when I first met you in the ski academy when you came and taught us brothers all about Kwanzaa, and just meeting you and seeing the work that you did in the community. And then when you came to the Demic Center, when we had the adult education program and taught our students about Kwanzaa, that really inspired them.
Oh, good. Glad to hear.
But you don't have an adult education program anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and lack of funding. And that's another topic I want to talk about coming around, going uptown with Uptown Browne. But I want to thank, Mr. I have a picture of him in there somewhere. He was playing the drums, and he was the man And if you see this picture, I hope you probably may recognize him.
I think I might know him.
But I mean, he was very Afrocentric. He was our MECO coordinator. And then one of the things that he opened up a school in the summertime for us and taught us all about Black love.
Oh, was
Black
that
awareness. It was called Indie Prep. It was over there right by Humboldt.
I heard about that.
We about our culture. We learned about everything. I mean, we had African dancers come in there, African drummers come in there, taught us how to play the drums. We learned about our history, learned about important people that lived in the Holocaust that helped build us up. I remember he helped, he taught me and everybody else. Before we start the day, we had to say mother to son every day. But he was a very important guy, and he really helped us here in Dover Sherburne feel proud of ourselves. Well, I guess the picture's not coming up though, but it's okay. And this is, but so the events are fans for the Kwanzaa week? Because I know there was a little something.
Yeah, there was some changes.
Yeah.
So I can't speak on it, but as soon as I get that confirmation, I will send it out. I don't want to put it out there now. It will be on the website because I called and talked to them about that, today. So it will be on the website. That's blackinfonow.org. Go check it out and come celebrate with us.
And I would like to thank everybody for tuning in on Uptown with Uptown Browne. See you next month. Peace.